Hey everybody. So this is going to be a fairly long video, and there is going to be a trophy. There's actually going to be two trophies at the end. But the reason I'm making this video is to show the Curious Egg deck, and I'm going to show a full playthrough. Actually, I'm going to show the beginning of one 12th level run and the majority of the successful 12th level run that comes after it. There's going to be a little switch about, I think, 20 minutes in, maybe less time, where we're going to have basically the same cards. A couple of them are going to change. We're going to be in a slightly different place on the map. But other than that, we're pretty much going to be in the same situation. But this is my 12th run. So at the end, we will get the trophy for completing the 12th level of challenges. And we will also get one other trophy. Let me look that up. Of course, the other trophy is Start Finish for completing a run with every starter deck in Casey's mod. So this is going to basically be a tutorial on how to use the Curious Egg deck, which is 3 eggs that have 0 power and 1 health. And I'm going to show you how to get them to a useful state, basically. It's going to take a very long time. It's really complicated. Well, it's not really complicated. So the basic tenet is you want all 5 tribes. So canine, feathered, hooved, reptile, and it'll come to me. Insect. There we go. You want 1 card of every tribe. You want 1 card of every power level from 1 to 5, and 1 card of every health level 1 to 5. You could have 5 cards, and you could have a wolf that has 5 power and 5 health. You could have a hooved, like an elk, that has a power and health of 4. You could have a raven, 3 and 3, so on and so forth. You could have 5 cards and complete what you need, or you could get 1 of each and just work at getting those numbers close. And once you finally have all 15 criteria met, the Curious Eggs will turn into hydras, which have bifurcated and trifurcated attacks. So you basically will hit 5 times with each card. You see the little lights on the eggs. There's 3 rows of 5. There's a heart at the top, a kind of a bite symbol in the middle, and the canine tribe emblem on the bottom. So that's health, power, and tribe. Once all 15 of those lights are lit, every time you play the Curious Egg for 1 bone, it will turn into the Hydra, and it will attack with, I believe it's only 1 power, but again, it's hitting with 5. And I think its health goes up a little bit more than 1. We're going to have to wait about 50 minutes to find out, because we're not going to reach the point where we can actually play the Hydras until right at the end I believe it's the third boss fight is when we see it happen. It's either the third boss fight or the Leshy fight. As I mentioned, this is the beginning of a run that I end up not having success in. At least I believe that's what happened, because I've went back and looked at the footage and I just can't figure out what happened to two of my cards. So my guess is I probably didn't like the challenges that I had picked. It was getting too much in the way with me trying to figure out how to get the Hydra to work. So I must have either failed and lost and restarted, or decided to give up, let myself lose, because you don't want to restart. If you restart, if you quit out of a Casey's Mod run, then the next run you are penalized by Leshy. So it's better just to let him beat you. So again, in a few minutes, we're going to switch gears here. And right now we have a Cuckoo, which we will have for the entire video. Cuckoo ends up being very useful because of the broken egg that it puts in front of it and the airborne ability that it has. You can basically get the Cuckoo up to about 4 or 5, and it will, if you're able to put it down first, it'll get the 5 hits you need pretty early on in the fight. I believe we have a wolf cub at the moment. Oh, see, they're attacking with exactly what we're doing. We have a wolf cub at the moment and a moose buck. The wolf cub is not going to appear in the second half of the video, but we are going to get a wolf. And eventually we're going to get our hands on the hand tentacle card, corpse maggots. We're going to get the river snapper. And I want to say 1 or 2 other cards. Oh, we already have the river snapper, but we're going to have the river snapper in the end as well. Right now we have the raven. That raven. Oh, actually, never mind. We've already switched. There we go. So we've made the switch. We're now into the run that we're going to keep. And we're powering up our Cuckoo. Once and twice. And then a second campfire before we head into the angler fight. We don't have a lot going for us here, but what we have is powerful enough, and it actually surprisingly gets the job done. It really does. The hand tentacle, of course, it won't show up when you can increase the power, because the hand tentacle doesn't have a fixed number that it uses. I'm sorry, not hand tentacle, bell tentacle. I think I was looking at a hand tentacle earlier in the video. The bell tentacle is a power level of 4 if it's right next to the bell, and then 3, 2, 1, all depending on how far away it is. So instead we go for the corpse maggot. So every time I'm raising any power level or health, I'm kind of keeping in mind where I want things. Of course, health is raised twice each time you do it. So if we bring something in, if it's at 3, we're never going to get it to 4. If we have something at 1, we're never going to be able to get it to 4, you know, because it's already odd, and we're going to add 2 to it, another 2. We can get it to 3 or 5, but we can't get it to the number in between. So keep that in mind and kind of have a plan of which cards you're going to try to raise or lower. Above all else, because we don't have any adders or ringworms, we're not feeding poisonous things to the campfire survivors. I think they're called survivors, the people standing around the campfire. So there's always a massive risk if you are going to try to level something up twice. It would be horrible to put all this work in and lose one of your important cards, especially if it's filling the need for the tribe and for the power or health level. That was a misplay there. I should have put it in the second slot. Now, speaking of which, I don't think I've mentioned this in any of the other videos. I'm making this one, and I'm going to make the Skullstorm one as well, but I'm probably not going to put these 2 out today because I want to go back and maybe look at the other capture that I have of earlier runs of Casey's mod and see whether or not I want to make any other trophy guides for it. But the misplay trophy, I'm gonna have to look that up to see exactly what it's called, but it's very misleading in that it's just randomized how many misplays you actually get in a run. You won't find out until you're done with the Casey's mod run, but once you're done, it's a rookie mistake is what it's called. There will be an arbitrary number of how many misplays you made throughout the game. It literally has nothing to do with any way that you play the game. You could play it perfectly, and you know, you could win every card battle with the first card you put down, and it will still give you a random number of 0 to, you know, 13 or 14 misplays throughout your run. So the first time that you finish Casey's mod and the game decides you had 10 or more misplays, then you'll get the rookie mistake trophy. Certainly don't worry about it. You're gonna have to play this game probably well more than 13 times in order to get through it, unless you're restarting or heading to the menu screen and hitting continue every time that you are at risk of losing that run. But chances are you're going to put at least 13 runs in, if not more, so you will eventually get the chance to get the rookie mistake trophy. So we are still going against the Trapper and Trader here. Still working on the Trapper. So until we get the requirements met for the Curious Eggs, what we're basically using them for is as a sacrifice, you know, in like the second turn or third or fourth, we'll put them down if we need something. If we need 2 sacrifices, we'll put a squirrel down and a Curious Egg. I decided to stick with the aqua squirrels. I didn't see that as much of a risk. I don't normally use squirrels as a defense mechanism, and these Curious Eggs work just as well. You put them down for 1 bone, and they will they'll cover a slot when you need it. also wanted to get more cards in my hand, even though it is a bell tentacle. Sometimes I get confused which one's which. I don't think I have any capture of using the Kraken, the Great Kraken card. That's a fun card to use in Casey's mod, because you never know what you're going to get. And I never used it in Act 2, but I know that it can change into one of the other tentacle cards in Act 2. So here we have 4 pelts. We're going to clear out 4 of the cards. We do have a Wise Clock on hand, and I believe we have Magical Bleach as well, unless we've already used it. I find the worst part of the Trapper Trader and the Prospector boss fights are that you get all these extra cards in your hand and you start playing them and having fun using them, and then when the fight's over, you got to be reminded that, oh wait a minute, those 5 cards that I just used to win the fight, they weren't mine. They were given to me through the boss, basically. It is too bad that we couldn't hold on to some of these cards. They may have helped us get to Hydra faster. It's actually kind of interesting. I wonder if there is a random chance that the cards that you pick up and put in your hand, if they meet the criteria, if you are instantly able to use the Curious Eggs to turn into Hydras. But unfortunately, we didn't make the right choices to find that out. So right now, 1, 3, and 4 are both good for power and health. We have feathered, insect, hooved, and reptile. We have a health of 5, but we need a power of 5, and that's pretty hard to get. The Curious Eggs also have 1 health, so they can take the place of that requirement. I do spend a lot of time staring at my cards, but I thought I cut most of this stuff out. But this is necessary. I mean, you're definitely going to want to look over what you have and kind of plan out what you're going to do with it, especially when you come to a new map to figure out which way you want to go. Caves can end up offering you some interesting cards, but usually they're interesting because of the sigils that are put on them. The card event to the right with a question mark would probably give us some lower level cards that aren't really going to help us meet what we need, but there could be a canine in there, which is what we need now. But we end up picking the cave. We know we have a wide variety of numbers here, because that's what we're going for. I go with health of 6, and somehow we make it. We just make it. And there's our canine. We got a wolf. As normal, 3-2. It has a corpse maggot sigil on it, which is fantastic. We have it in our hand. If another card perishes, it will automatically take its place. You don't even have to sacrifice 2 cards in order to play it. But you can also do that. So now the plan is to get the wolf up to 5. I think that was my original plan. I don't remember if I exactly do that or not. And then all we have to do is get a pack rat. So we're going to fill our pack up and try not to use it too much. Wise Clock, very useful in all sorts of situations. As I mentioned in other videos, of course, great for the grizzly challenge, but also can really help turn the tides, just like the hook, where it can bring one of your opponent's cards onto your side, or just completely change the playing field altogether by moving everything over 1. The middle row moves 1 to the left. I'm sorry, 1 to the right. Your row moves 1 to the left. It moves clockwise. That's why it's called the Wise Clock. And as mentioned before, now with the cuckoo being at power level 4 and having the broken egg as a kind of buffer, you can pretty much use that to nearly finish the fight with one play. And the Veil Tentacle does the rest. So this next card event gives us a chance to talk about something other than the Curious Eggs, and that's the Lammergeier. The Lammergeier is kind of interesting. It is based on a bird that eats bone marrow. So the way that the Lammergeier works is it looks at the amount of bones you have at that moment and takes its power number from that by taking that number and cutting it in half. So if you have 20 bones somehow sitting over in a pile next to you, it will attack with 10 points of damage. It's rare that you're going to have that many bones, though. But if you are playing with a bone deck, there's a great starter deck that comes with a raccoon and not a possum, maybe a coyote. I can't remember. No, because the coyote comes with a different starter deck. Either way, there's some great ways to earn bones and spend bones in that starter deck. And I did that run. I might end up putting some of that run on with a few other bits and bobs from my Casey's Mod adventures. But I use that. I don't think I end up using it in this run. But if I do end up using in this run, then I'm not going to tell you what happens. We'll leave that to gain, to build a little suspense. But basically, it's a very useful card to have if you are generating a lot of bones. If you're not, it's not really worth it. So we're looking over our cards again here, and we're making our final decisions on how we're going to reach the last thing we need, which is literally getting one of these cards to power level 5. Everything else is taken care of. Our 1s, our 2s, our 3s, our 4s, and then of course the Corpse Maggot has a health of 5, and we have all 5 tribes. So we just need to get something up to 5. It's either the Moose Buck or the Wolf. So on a whim, because I know the Corpse Maggot is a useful card to have, especially because of its sigil, I decided to pick the Corpse Maggot there. And you're going to see how I instantly regret that. But it's okay. There's no problem. We are about to hit up the Mycologist, and you want to make sure that you are focused and thinking your entire run. Otherwise, you could make a mistake like I almost made here and ruin your chances of getting your numbers lined up for the Curious Eggs. So here we visit the Mycologist, and we only have 2 pairs of cards, our Curious Eggs and the Corpse Maggot we just picked up. Now if I combine the Corpse Maggots, that means it's going to have a power of 2 and a health of 7. And we don't need the number 7, we need the number 5. We need to keep that number 5. So what I do is I pick the Curious Eggs, and it's perfectly fine. You can combine the 2 Curious Eggs. It'll give it a health of 2, and it will not affect anything else about it. Alright, a few more fights and events here, and then we will finally be able to get one of our cards to power level 5. So as much as I love the Mantis and the Mantis God, obviously, I realized with the shark, if I try to level up the Moose Buck or the Wolf twice at the campfire, I run a very heavy risk of the survivors taking my card away, and then I would be in big trouble. I would lose probably another number that I need. Probably the health of one of those cards would be something I was counting on. And the tribe, because hooved for the moose buck and canine for the wolf that I had just gotten recently. So I decided to take the great white, even though it is one of my least favorite high level cards, and level it up to 5, and now we are all set. Heading into the angler fight, we will now be able to see what the curious eggs do. Unfortunately, I do not get the curious eggs in my hand for this fight, so you'll have to wait one more battle to see what happens. But stick around, it's pretty good. So at this point we have everything we need. The mud turtle being able to attack the same spot twice with a power of 2, so essentially hitting it with 4, and also having the magpie's eye sigil on there, being able to pick any card out of our deck. Now once we play that, we can grab a curious egg, which will now become a hydra. And here we go, there's the hydra. We finally get to see what it looks like, and we will absolutely play it. Power of 1, health of 5. There you go, that's the difference. But power of 1, yes, but you're also hitting 5 times. And obviously you do not need to put a squirrel down for this because it costs 1 bone. So we'll have to play some other card first. So we play the Cuckoo, which kind of stinks. I probably should have played that on the further left or right slot. That way the Hydra wouldn't have to destroy the Cuckoo's egg. But either way, we still win the battle with 1 turn. At this point, we don't have to count our cards, we don't have to worry, but we do want to keep those cards. We don't want to lose any of those cards. So you want to make sure if you're going to do any sacrificing, that you're not sacrificing the only card from any of those 5 tribes or any of the cards that have those power or health levels that you need. Because once it's no longer in your deck, the Hydra is not going to show up again. It's always when, at the moment you play the card, or at the moment you get it in your hand. So I would love to sacrifice the great white shark, but honestly, its sigil is what I don't want. So we keep it, and we get rid of one of these corpse maggots, because that's a great sigil. I like to put that on something that requires 3 or 4 sacrifices. That way it's more bang for your buck, really. But we put it on the alpha because it's always good to have an alpha on your team. Use that leader sigil to bring everybody's points up by 1. I wouldn't be surprised if I picked the Mantis God, but the Amalgam for this particular run is the best choice because the Amalgam is part of every tribe, all 5 of the tribes. The Amalgam and the Hydra are basically the same. They're a mixture of everything else. The Hodag there, I kind of wanted to play around with. I think I played around with the Hodag in the previous run. I think it was unlocked in level 10 or 11. But it's not really worth choosing it over the Amalgam, which is going to really help us if we end up losing one of our cards accidentally through sacrifice or through the bone. I don't even know what that event's called when you give one of your cards up and you get a Bone Lord's boon. So up until the final boss fight, we're pretty much going to play this game as it happens. There's not too much more to say about the Hydras. You are going to see the Hydras come out a few more times in the rest of in the next 14 minutes that are left of this video. But that's pretty much it. Once you have the cards in your hand, as long as you don't lose them, as long as you don't give them away, you'll be able to use the Hydra. Of course, you will need one bone, which now that we've made a sacrifice, I believe we did that. I mean, I see one bone sitting over there, so now maybe we start every battle with one bone, so then you can play a Hydra right away. Which is a fantastic reason to visit one of those events with the X inside the square, where you're basically sacrificing one of your cards, but not putting the sigil onto another card. You're sacrificing it, and you're getting a Bone Lord's card, which gives you one bone. I believe, I haven't done this yet myself, but I believe if you sacrifice the Black Goat, you get a different card that gives you more bones. I want to say maybe 5 or maybe even 12 bones every card battle, which would be fantastic for the Lammergeier. Man, that would be awesome. Like, instantly you'd be able to use that card to get an attack of 6 and win the fight. That'd be perfect. We're doing pretty good with our pack here. I think we have 2 Wise Clocks and Scissors. I still go for it and grab another pack rat. I don't know if this is pack rat number 2 or 3 for this run. Again, if you're looking to get the Gruesome Encore trophy, if you haven't gotten it yet, that's the best method, because you're going to have so many backpack events in Casey's mod. If you can hold on to your items and not use them, if you find a good method and things are working out well for you, then you're going to get 2 to 4 or 5 pack rats throughout your run. And you can use 2 of them at the mycologist, and then use a 3rd one on a second visit to the mycologist, and then you'll get the Gruesome Encore trophy. But any cards will work if you can get 3 of the same card as you're playing. Here we go to the last boss battle before Leshy, the Prospector. And we'll let this fight play out. I believe the Hydra comes to play for this one for a little bit, so keep your eyes out for that, but we'll let this play out. This is where that Corpse Maggot sigil really comes in clutch. Instead of turning my Cuckoo into a gold nugget, it is now the Alpha. So any card I can put to the left and right of that card, even the Aqua Squirrel, will gain an attack of 1, or will gain 1 more attack point. don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. I think I was trying to figure out whether or not I could get a second card played, or if I just wanted to put down the squirrel. And because it's an aqua squirrel, it's not going to get damaged and lose its 1 health. We're just going to keep on playing aqua squirrels. Or do I use a sacrifice? Maybe I sacrifice something. Yeah. I think I still wanted to possibly open up the Pack Mules cards and just have some fun with those. And we got them. Wolf Cub, Raven, and another Corpse Maggot. Basically the cards we had at the beginning of this video. Corpse Maggot comes in clutch again with the Alpha gone. And we have enough. We could play a Pack Rat or whatever that first card is. Oh, that's the Pack Rat. Never mind. We have 2 Pack Rats. Yeah, we have 2 Pack Rats in our hand right now. But we go for the Wolf Cub. Okay. And that will do it for this map. We'll head off to the final map after picking out a card. Of course, for our challenges, we picked no rare rewards from the boss fights, and we picked a second turtle. It'd be nice to combine those 2 turtles, but we don't get a chance to. And we go for a totem just to take up the space. Oh, we have a bird head. Do we go for the triple sacrifice? Yes, we do. Triple blood. And we'll see if that comes into play. I don't remember. Alright, so heading into the Leshy fight. I'll let this play out. I don't need to do a play-by-play call of my own work. But as I said, I'm pretty sure the Hydra shows up here, so once that comes on, maybe I'll get a little bit more commentary. So finally, in the last round, we do see the Hydra, and because it is of every tribe, just like the Amalgam, it takes the sigil from the totem. And now that we finally have a spot that opened up, we can play it. With only 18 left of health on the moon, we're going to finish this pretty quickly. It's interesting how the moon attacks with 2 just because one of the cards has the annoying sigil on it. So definitely an issue that you want to keep in mind when picking that challenge. It can change the game for you pretty drastically. Be a shame to come all the way here and end up losing to the moon because of the annoying sigil. But a bit of overkill here with an attack of 11, but that'll do it. There's Rise to the Challenge for finishing the 12th run of Casey's mod, 12th level, and we have unlocked the final boss fight, which is really enjoyable, a lot of fun. And we'll see that in the Skull Storm guide. This is just a quick look through all the cards we've unlocked. At this point, everything should be unlocked. And we've used all the starter decks. I'm going to show you in just about 40 seconds here the start finish trophy popping as well. These were the challenges we did not select because the more difficult challenges and the Grizzly challenge are definitely worth saving for Skullstorm because you have to do all the challenges then, and it is quite a doozy. It takes a lot of preparation too. Here is the start finish trophy. Again, we got it at the same time we got Rise to the Challenge. And that is for using and completing runs of Casey's mod with every starter deck. Hope that helped. Take care.